After yesterday's big correction to the downside, we saw a relief rally, but we were quickly to be retested here and going back to the downside, retesting this critical support zone here, all the way at around $59,000 to $60,000. Now, what is going to be happening next, right? That's the big question. And that's the question I'm gonna try and answer. I'm gonna try and do my best. Let's have a look. So this level that we retested was previously support and resistance, and mostly support right here. I actually drew it previously at like this level, like close to 60,000, but I moved it a bit down to like the $59,100 level, and correctly so, we did hit that level. Look, previously this level which I drew was around here, I believe, and at the previous low, but I drew it all the way to this low, the low that we created once we broke down from this big bear flag pattern, which we obviously broke down here. And right now you can see a very similar thing kind of happening. We're kind of consolidating, going to the upside, having a big breakdown, same thing happening, big breakdown, and now again, same thing happening and a big breakdown. Now question is, are we going lower or not? Let's have a look. Well, in order for us to be going lower, we have to be actually closing a candle below here. And I think there is a good likelihood that we do go lower, but right now, if I go, for example, on the 1 hourly, do we find some kind of support? Yes, we found some support at a lower level. And yes, of course, the 1 hourly closed below that, but let's look at the 4 hourly. The 4 hourly actually, the big candle, it had a big wick to the downside, but it actually closed above this line. So that is good news for the bulls. And now we're creating the second 4 hourly, and it's bearish. It's actually going down right now. What I really want to be seeing is some kind of 4 hourly closing above this level, and then we'll go back, retest this previous low and this previous high that we now retested again. I mean, the level is actually the previous low from here, which is pretty much this level if I draw it down here. But we can also keep it as we had, because this was the level that we retested here, and this is the level that we also kind of retested here and here. So I'm looking at this level. If we close above this level, 59,100, then I think we can go higher. If, however, we close below, I think we can go down very quickly. And I have to look at the liquidation heat map, because it's mostly telling us that we're going to the upside, because most of the liquidity is still laying above us. Look, once we had that big breakdown, everyone here who started to short the market, now the liquidation prices are above us. Everyone was who started shorting here, correctly so. This is the liquidation price. It's right here. It's at $61,800. And then also at this breakdown, we have a lot of liquidity, $63,400. And the liquidation levels, if I look at them, they're pretty much just above this high and also just above this high. And then we have one also here at this high. So these are the three big levels that I'm watching right now. And I think I can't predict it right now. It's very difficult to predict, but I think we can go higher from here. If we do, I'm going to enter short positions. If we don't, that's a big thing, right? If we don't go higher from here and we have a breakdown, what's the level that we should be looking at? Well, I drew these levels right here. These are the white lines, and let me show you guys why. So firstly, we have one white line here. There was previous support right here, and that level lies all the way at like $53,000. And then the other one was actually a previous high here on the last bear market once we started. Previous high, also found rejection here, and then also kind of found support here. It's along this level, and then also we had the wick to the downside in 2024, and that level is approximately $48,500, $49,000, so in that range. So if we, of course, go down from here, I think we can have a quick correction to these levels, probably find some support here, and I think we can go down there. I mean, look, the bear market usually lasts for 12 months. I've shown this to you guys many times, from the top to the bottom for the bear market. This is on the monthly time frame, usually 365 days, so 12 months. And right now, we are not there yet. We are currently still a few months away, so October will be where the bottom should be. And if I compare this cycle to the last cycle, we can see some big similarities. I mean, look at this. If I show this to you on the daily, you can see that we're eventually breaking. Focus on this orange line here. You can see I drew a similar orange line on the last cycle, and basically something very similar is happening. Essentially, we have a line which is acting as support many times, and this is the same thing. Support here has acted as support here, and this looks for me almost very similar, right? We are finding support along this line. We have like a higher high, so we have one high and then a second high. The same thing happened here, one high and then a second high. Yes, we retraced a bit more, and I know you can of course draw this line actually a bit higher. You could draw it here, But in my opinion, this looks very similar right now. What's happening? We had the first big wave down, and now this small consolidation, which is happening right here, and then one final push to the downside. And I think this final push can be happening very soon. I'm expecting it to happen very soon also. If I look here at Bitcoin and the open interest and the funding rates, people are still longing the market, so the funding rates are still positive. But I see the open interest going up. And this is telling me that here, all of this is new people who are entering short positions on the move down, on the move up here over the next two candles. Of course, people got liquidated, so the open interest went down. But now people are again adding to their positions. And usually when we see when open interest is very over leveraged, like right here, it was like 800,000 in for open leverage on the level, we had a big reversal. So this is when we went up, and then we had a bottom signal, we went to the bottom and we went high. And also here, we open interest peaked, and that's when we had a reversal. So if we go higher, I think we can eventually see some kind of reversal. But I'm looking at the liquidation levels. I'm looking at Bitcoin right now, and the chart is telling me you have to really watch out for this major level here at $59,000. Look, if we find a bounce from here, I told you I'm not trading this long as a long, right? I'm not putting long positions here. Thankfully, I did not. Yesterday, I also mentioned I'm not adding any longs because in a bear market, I want to be shorting. If we go back to these levels, and these levels are right here, these are the levels, 62,000, 63.5, and 65.8 approximately. If we go there, I'm going to enter short position because I'm waiting for that next big down to the downside. If not, that's fine. Then I will just add a big long position once we find some support and ride this for the next couple 2 to 3 years in the next bull market. So right now we have to really wait. Like I said, just to summarize, we have to wait for the candle to either close above this level or below this level. If you close above, I expect a bounce up. If you close below, I expect us to crash down quickly in the mid 50s. And guys, one thing I forgot to mention here is that if we look at the weekly moving average line, so these are these lines, the big one here, the white one is the 200 weekly moving average, which we're just retesting right now. You can see the last cycle we actually went all the way to the 350 weekly moving, and the cycle before that we went to like the 200, and then we went to the 300 eventually in the COVID crash. But what I'm looking here right now is, are we going to close the weekly candle above or below this line? And historically right now, we've closed it above. The moment we close it below, we're gonna have the big move to the downside, and the week is almost over. I mean, it's Thursday right now, week's almost over, unless we get a big bounce here up back above this, above like 65,000 and above like 63,000. I think we can continue the move to the downside. So that's also a thing to look out for, is the weekly 200 weekly moving average. And I would not be surprised. I mean, this looks to me like we're making that move to the downside, unless, like I said, we stay above the 59 to $60,000 level and close the candle above. I think we can go down from here.